Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is the show where we take your sources, the articles, the notes you send us, and we really dig in.
Yeah, we pull out the most important stuff, the key insights just for you.
We're here to guide you, basically.
Yeah.
Help you get the core ideas without wading through everything yourself.
That's the goal. Quick understanding, practical takeaways.
And today, we're diving into something really practical. How to actually start a podcast. We've got this great guide here aimed right at beginners. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the essential steps, the gear you might need, the strategies, all based on this source material.
Right, so you can feel informed, maybe even ready to launch your own show.
Exactly. Think of us as guiding you through this roadmap, hitting the highlights.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so this guide, it kicks off with planning, makes sense.
Yeah.
And the very first thing it hammers home is figuring out who you're talking to, your audience.
This is so crucial, and the guide makes a really good point. You don't necessarily need a huge audience right away. Sometimes going for a smaller niche group is actually more valuable.
More valuable. How so?
Well, think about advertisers. They often want a very specific group. Or if it's a podcast for your business, a niche audience can be great for lead generation. The source mentions that.
Ah, okay. So knowing your audience really helps define things. Makes planning the content way easier, I imagine.
Totally. Once you know who you're making it for, what starts to fall into place.
Right. So after audience, the guide moves to format. What kind of show will it be?
Yeah, it lists the usual suspects. Solo, maybe you and a co-host, interviews, or even a mix.
And it points out they all have pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
And different amounts of work involved.
Definitely. Something to think about up front so you don't bite off more than you can chew,
Good point. Okay, next up, the title. Always a tricky one.
Yeah, but the advice here is pretty practical. Don't overthink it too much. A great show can survive a so-so title.
But it needs to be functional.
Functional is key. Easy to say, easy to recommend, and really important, easy to spell.
Oh, yeah, the guide mentions an example. Someone using entrepreneurs in the title.
Yeah.
And even they sometimes misspelled it.
Exactly. If the creators struggle, imagine someone trying to search for it. You lose listeners before they even find you.
So simple spelling. Got it. What else about titles?
Make it unique if you can. You don't want to be lost in a sea of similar names. It also mentions some Spotify stats. Average titles are like 3 words, 15, 20 characters. Short and punchy seems common.
Interesting.
And bonus tip, you don't have to put the word podcast in the title itself.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, title done. Then comes the show description, the little summary people see.
Right. Think Netflix description. Short is generally better. But crucially,
Let me guess keywords.
bingo. Use words or phrases in that description that people might actually search for, especially if those terms aren't in your title.
Like the entrepreneur example, if entrepreneur isn't in the title, definitely put it in the description.
Absolutely. The guide really pushes this for discoverability. Oh, and maybe briefly mention why you're the one talking about this topic, your passion or qualifications, if it fits.
Makes sense. Adds a bit of credibility.
Yeah.
Okay, still in planning. Cover art. The little square picture.
Yeah, that visual hook.
Yeah.
The guide says aim for 3,000 by 3,000 pixels. Big and square.
And tools. It mentions Canva.
Yep, Canva's got tons of templates, apparently over 1,000. Or you could hire someone, of course.
What about what goes on the art?
2 key things. If you up for it, put your face on it. People connect with faces. And second, make the title text huge, as big as possible, because it often shows up really tiny on phone screens when people are scrolling. Needs to be readable instantly.
That's a really practical tip. Okay, that covers the planning stage pretty well. Foundational stuff.
Right. Now you need the tools to actually make the thing. Gear time.
Okay, assuming you have a computer, the guide says there's really only one other absolutely essential piece of gear for an audio-only podcast.
Yep, the microphone.
And it really stresses why this is the one thing you shouldn't skimp on.
Because audio quality is everything, seriously. If it sounds bad, distorted, echoey, too quiet, muddy, people just won't stick around. Doesn't matter how amazing your content is.
So invest in a decent mic. That's the core message.
It really is. Get the sound right first. Now, the guide does look ahead to video, which is optional, but becoming more popular.
Right, so if you do want video, obviously, you need a camera.
And the guide suggests starting simple. Use what you have. Maybe a webcam. Though it warns built-in laptop ones can be kinda.
Garbage.
Haha, yeah, basically. A dedicated webcam is better. Or your smartphone.
Smartphones are pretty good now.
They really are. Just need a tripod or some way to mount it steadily. And here's a neat tip from the guide. Connect your phone to your computer.
How?
Apps like Camo, or apparently iPhones and Macs, can connect wirelessly now. The point is, you record audio and video together directly to the computer.
Ah, so you don't have to sync them up later in editing.
Exactly. Saves a ton of hassle. That syncing process can be tedious.
That sounds like a game changer for workflow. Anything else for video beginners?
Just a mention of lighting. Even just facing a window can make a big difference. And of course, if you already have an external camera that does at least 1080p, use that.
Okay, so audio essentials are minimal, video adds a bit more, but you can often use existing stuff.
Pretty much. Now let's talk software. The guide says this part is way easier than it used to be.
Thank goodness. Okay, what do we need?
First up, recording and editing software. For solo shows especially, it recommends Descript.
Descript, what's the big deal there?
The workflow. You record right in it, and it transcribes the audio. Then you edit the text, like a Word doc, delete a word in the transcript.
And it deletes the audio. Wow.
Yeah, super intuitive. The guide actually makes that Word doc comparison. Plus, it avoids shuffling files around. Oh, and there's a free version to start.
That does sound easy. The guide also notes good planning helps minimize editing anyway, right?
Definitely. A tighter recording means less cleanup later.
Okay, but what if you're not solo? Remote guests. Co-hosts elsewhere.
Good question. For that, you need tools that record locally.
Locally, meaning on each person's computer separately.
Exactly. The guide explains why. Even if someone's internet glitches during the call, their recording saves perfectly on their end. High quality, no dropouts.
That makes sense. Protects the recording quality. Any examples?
It mentions StreamYard, Riverside.fm, and Squadcast. Apparently, Squadcast even integrates directly with Descript now.
Okay, options for remote recording. So record, edit. What's next, software-wise?
The final piece is your podcast host, the hosting platform.
Right, this is where the audio files actually live online, isn't it? It's how you get the show onto Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those places.
Precisely. You can upload video directly to YouTube, but for audio distribution everywhere else, you need a host.
Now, the guide mentions free options exist, but with caveats.
Big caveats. Read the terms very carefully. Some free hosts might try to claim ownership of your content, or they might run ads on your show, but you don't see any money. Yeah. And watch out for free plans that are really just limited free trials. The guide does, however, give a nod to Spotify for podcasters as a genuinely free option, many use.
What's the catch there?
The main thing noted is distribution. You'll probably have to manually submit your show to places like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc., at least initially. Spotify doesn't automatically do it all for you like paid hosts do.
Ah, okay, so that's a big benefit of paid hosts. Automatic distribution.
Huge benefit, according to the guide. You publish once on your host, and they push it out everywhere automatically. Saves a lot of time and ensures you're discoverable wherever people listen.
That seems worth paying for. Any other major paid host features?
Yes. Dynamic audio insertion, DAI. This is a big one.
Dynamic insertion, what's that?
It lets you insert or even change bits of audio within your episodes after they've been published. Think ads, promos, announcements.
Wait, even in old episodes?
Yes, that's the power. The guide points out people often find a show, like it, and go back to listen from the beginning, right? Episode 87, then episode 1.
Sure, it happens all the time.
With DAI, you can insert a promo for your current sale or workshop into all your past episodes. So even someone listening to episode 1 hears your latest offer.
Wow, that's incredibly useful, especially for a business podcast.
Absolutely. You can promote time-sensitive things across your entire back catalog. And when the promo's over, you just swap it out or remove it. The guide strongly recommends getting a host with DAI if you're serious, especially for business.
Any specific paid hosts mentioned?
It highlights Buzzsprout, starting around $12 a month, as a popular choice with DAI, and Captivate FM, around $19 a month, for maybe more advanced features like built-in guest booking tools alongside robust DAI.
Okay, so a clear software path. Record, edit, like Descript, maybe remote tools like Riverside, then a host, free like Spotify's with manual work, or paid like Buzzsprout Captivate for auto distribution and DAI.
That's the core software stack.
Which brings us to actually publishing, making the episode live.
Yeah, the guide keeps this part brief. Basically, you just follow the instructions on whatever hosting platform you chose.
Usually uploading the final audio file, adding the title, show notes, maybe some tags.
Pretty much. Upload, fill in the details, hit publish or schedule it. straightforward once the hard work of creating the episode is done. Oh, and it mentions again, you can put it on YouTube too, linking to a tutorial.
Right. Which circles back to that big question, video. Is it worth adding video?
The guide revisits this with a nice analogy. Audio is like a car gets you there reliably.
Okay.
Video can be like a jet, gets you there faster, potentially connects you with more people, expands your reach.
A jet, huh? I like that. But it means being camera ready.
It does, though the guide has a funny take on that, something about only needing to shower once a month if you batch record.
Huh. Practical advice. And it also points out that editing video with tools like Descript might not take that much longer than audio only these days.
True. But the biggest benefit the guide emphasizes for video, connection.
Connection.
Yeah. Letting the audience actually see you helps build trust and a stronger sense of knowing you. That face-to-face feeling, even through a screen.
That makes sense. Deeper rapport.
And that connection, that trust is vital, especially for building loyal listeners. If the podcast is for your business or if you want sponsors down the line, they want to connect with you.
Plus, video gives you clips for social media, right?
Oh, absolutely. A huge advantage. You can slice up video episodes into little snippets for YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook. So much promotional content potential from one recording session.
That marketing angle alone feels pretty compelling.
It really opens up how you can promote and connect. It's a whole other layer.
Wow, okay. We've really covered a lot of ground here based on this guide. From the initial idea, figuring out the audience.
Through the gear,
Yeah.
software choices for recording, editing, hosting.
And tackling that audio versus video decision, it really lays out a clear path.
It does. It shows that, yeah, there are steps, but it's definitely not insurmountable for someone starting out, especially with the tools available now.
And podcasting itself is just such an amazing growing space. So much potential for sharing what you know or love. Thinking about starting can feel big, but breaking it down helps.
Absolutely. Which leads us nicely into a final thought, something for you to mull over based on what we've unpacked.
Okay.
This guide makes a really strong argument that adding video significantly helps your audience feel like they trust you, like they know you better. And that connection is apparently crucial for loyalty, for business success, for sponsors. So the question is, given that the tools now make video editing almost as straightforward as audio, does that potential for building a much deeper connection outweigh that initial feeling of maybe not wanting to be camera ready, especially for your potential show?
That's definitely something worth pondering as you think about starting your own podcast journey.